Going to Universal on a tight budget?
Then try these 7 tested tips for your Universal vacation. Hey guys, it's Courtney and Seth here today with another installment of
Unravel with the Jackson Travels.
And today we are going to once again be visiting the budget tips for a Universal vacation, beginning with the planning stages all the way into the implementation during your Universal vacation. So I know we've done a video similar to this before, but these are going to be the updated tips and tricks for your upcoming Universal vacation. So let's start with tip number 1.
So tip number 1 is to stay on Universal property and track your hotel prices.
So this tip is probably the most important because your hotel is probably going to be a big chunk of your budget for your Universal vacation. What we do, and this is practice that we even ourselves have every time we're going to Universal, is to look at your hotel prices for your selected dates every day if you can. Even if you don't have an annual pass like we do, those dates and those prices fluctuate, but Universal also has different types of regular rates. Like they have their seasonal rate, that's just their flat rate. Sometimes they may have different promotional deals. I know one they have is like Be a Savvy Traveler. That's what they call the rate. So those rates can change from time to time, or a cheaper room type or a cheaper hotel may become available for your selected dates. So you can definitely go back and look at those same dates, different hotels, different room types, and different discount types, and get a cheaper rate for your hotel. And lastly, you do want to stay on Universal property if you can, just because the amenities of staying on property are really just going to outweigh having to stay off property, even if it's maybe $10 or $20 less a night. And the Universal hotels do really make it worth your while. With the different amenities like the room charging privileges, you have all of the opportunities to get your packages from the park delivered to your hotel. Like if you don't stay on Universal property, and those are just a couple of amenities, you don't get any of that. So really, if you can spend that extra $10 to $20 a night at a Universal hotel, it's going to be much more worth it.
Tip number 2 is to track flight prices and use ride sharing upon arrival.
So for the flight prices, very similar to the hotel tracking, we use the Google provided feature. If you search your flight, you can sign up to be notified when the flight goes up, down, or is projected to go up or down in price. So don't necessarily book right when you decide on your dates. Maybe wait a little while to see if the price goes down. Hopefully then your overall budget and your overall price is going to be lower at that point. And also for the ride sharing service, this is specifically going to be kind of compared to Universal Superstar Shuttle, which is their shuttle service to and from the airport. We have used that shuttle service on multiple occasions. Usually there's other people in your party that are going to different Universal hotels, so we find that using an Uber is just going to be much faster and really about the same cost-wise. Also, we've had a couple of issues with the shuttle service in the past, nothing really too major, but like if you ever had a flight change or anything like that, sometimes it's hard for the right channels to get that communicated to your shuttle service. With an Uber, it's right on your phone, you book when you're ready to leave, and it's really much simpler. So for the same price, it's going to be easier and more time efficient, because time is money at a theme park. Honestly, it's going to be more time efficient for you to use a ride sharing service.
So tip number 3 is to buy an annual pass. So initially you would think that a pass is for somebody that wants to come multiple times a year or be there a lot,
a week, a month.
It's actually pretty worth it if you're going to stay over 4 days. I think even on their website now, once you hit
a certain number of days,
so many days, they kind of have the annual pass there.
Yeah.
So depending on how many days you're going to be in the parks, you may want to look and compare how much you're going to pay for overall tickets and versus a
annual pass,
and there are 4 different annual pass tiers, so you may want to look at each of those as well.
So again, for annual passes, really look kind of more long term. If you're going to be coming to Universal maybe more than one time during the year, obviously it's going to be way more worth it than buying tickets every time you visit. Also, with an annual pass, the good thing about having that is you get discounts on food, you get discounts on the Universal hotels, you get discounts on merchandise, you get pass holder perks. So not just you save money on your tickets, you actually save money on everything else during your visit as well. So really look, if you're going to be visiting, like Seth said, more than 4 days, it's really going to be worth it to get that annual pass.
Tip number 4 is to plan your meals.
So this is going to be one of the more in-depth tips because, of course, food, drinks, anything like that over multiple days, especially at a theme park, can really add up in price. So a couple of things that Seth and I do to kind of combat that a little bit is we usually try and plan out where we're going to be eating. This is totally not necessary if you do not want to do that. And we can change, you know, it's not like Disney in the fact of you have to make a reservation, but it kind of helps us to plan where we're going to be every day. Also, it helps you to know how much you're going to spend, especially if you've A, been to the restaurant before, or B, you can actually look up most of the menus of the Universal restaurants on Universal's website, so you can get somewhat of a guesstimate of exactly how much you're going to want to be spending. Also, I do want to note that you can bring food into the park, so if you want to plan a day to do like some snacks or something like that, like sandwiches, you can bring, I think, a certain type of cooler into the park. We'll put that up on the screen here, but of course in the big hard shell coolers, I think, is their rule. So Universal kind of gives you that flexibility to plan ahead with their menus and bring your snacks, drinks, and food into the park if needed.
And also, if you're staying on property, you can do grocery delivery. This is not a service from Universal, so this is going to be like the Instacart or any
that you initiate
grocery store that you may be a member of. They can deliver that to the front lobby, and you'll need to go out there and make sure you pick that up. But that's another good option if you're wanting to buy breakfast and snacks and drinks and stuff. That is going to be way cheaper at the grocery store than it would be in the resort.
And that you don't want to bring with you maybe on the plane. Just get it when you get there.
Tip number 5 is to buy a freestyle cup.
Alright guys, so this probably is the most underrated tip just because you're going to want drinks or some sort of soda all day, especially when it's the summer or hotter months in Florida, which is most of the months. But Seth and I have several of the freestyle cups. You can get these in a variety of seasonal cups if you go during a special time, but you can reactivate these on every visit. Seth and I are still using some really, really old ones, back from 2015, I think. So they are good until they just basically kick the bucket. But there is a little chip in the bottom, and you can reactivate them on every visit for a discount. And you can get unlimited refills every 15 minutes.
10 or 15.
And the Coca-Cola Freestyle locations are basically all around the park. So you just go in, put it on the Freestyle machine, refill your drink, and you can be on your way. And you don't have to keep buying paper cups or anything like that during your stay. Also take this with you to your lunch reservations or your dinner reservations, and you won't have to buy a drink.
Tip number 6 is to vacation during the off season.
So there are going to be several different off seasons, specifically for Universal or Orlando. So if you can, you're going to want to avoid those busy times. Typically, a good rule of thumb is after any major holiday, like the middle of January, I heard is pretty dead at Universal. Basically, stay away from any of those holidays where schools are going to be closed, or you're going to be off of work along with probably the rest of the country if you can, just to avoid those long lines, more than likely increased hotel and ticket prices. If you go during the off season, those are going to be on the lower side, so overall your experience will be better and your overall price will be lower.
Tip number 7 is to set up a spending limit on your room key.
Alright, so this is a really, I think, lesser known tip, but for your room keys, this is what you get on the day of check-in. You can actually set a daily spending limit, and you can use your room key for charging for privileges throughout the park, city walk at certain places, and for merchandise, food, basically whatever. So if you are wanting to really stick to your budget, it will actually just cut off and will not allow you to charge anymore once you reach that certain limit. Also, you get one itemized bill at the end of your stay to actually see everything that was spent at every different location, and it holds you accountable because you have that spending limit in place. Alright, so we do have one little bonus tip, so I'll let Seth take it away.
So you can get free water. You don't need to buy bottles of water.
Or bring them.
Or you can even bring in reusable water bottles and take them to those same Coke Freestyle machines. And it'll let you get ice and water, and that's a great way to
save money. Also, another little bonus tip, if it's your birthday, you're celebrating a special occasion, be sure to tell a team member, probably I'd say starting with check-in at your hotel, because they will give you some free little Universal coupons and things to use around the park. Since it's your birthday, you can get some freebies. Alright guys, so we hope you enjoyed these universal budget tips to help you with your universal vacation, starting with the planning and the implementation, of course, of your universal trip. We hope that you will like this video, comment, and let us know what your favorite budget tip is for your universal vacations, or when the next universal vacation is for you. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more universal content coming soon. So until next time, we hope to see you on the next adventure. Bye.